Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hey everyone.
Hey guys.
So, what do we have going on today? Well, I will preface with I am under the weather, if you want to call it that today. I am not 100%. I'm not even close. So, I apologize if I sound low energy or a little down. It is because I am, but that's okay. We're still going to get through this. We're going to go through what, as always, is going on in Rust development. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to do Misty underscore that's me in chat and ask your question, and we will get to all the ones that we have the opportunity to. Also, before we get into development news, real quick on just what's happening with whips today, because it is Thursday. It is the weekly and bi weekly Thursday wipe servers are wiping today for Rustafied. So that's your mains, your mediums, your trios, your smalls, your barons, your Zen labs, and the like. And those wipe at regular scheduled time. That's 3 p.m. local time for the region, which means EU wiped 3 hours ago. AU, SEA, they wiped like 12, 13 hours ago because they live in the future. And US will wipe in 2 hours at 3 p.m. EST. And these are map wipes only because we are mid month. So no blueprint wipe in store. And that's what's going on with wipes. So let's get into it. What's going on in Rust development? Well, there is actually a mandatory update apparently coming early next week. This is a little uncommon for a mid month thing, but there's generally speaking, if they're doing a forced update, a mandatory update mid month, there's generally speaking a very good reason for it. So, just if you are a server owner, be on the lookout early next week. I don't know when it's specifically scheduled for, but be on the lookout. And I'll try to tweet or post about it as well before it happens once we find out the specific time, if it is indeed happening. But it will be, given it's mandatory. It's not like the hot fixes that come out. You do have to update your server before players will be able to join. And players, you'll need to update your clients before you're able to join any updated server. So just as a little heads up, that's what's on the horizon. It looks like next week. No word on specifically what that is for or anything. And I'm not going to even try to go into details. Just know there's a good reason to do it. And it looks like it's going to be happening early next week. Now, what else do we have going on in actual development? Well, there's a bunch of stuff going on. I was hoping, I was hoping to come from and stream from the Aux One branch today, because two very cool things hit the Aux One branch just like yesterday or the day before. Unfortunately, Aux One is very unstable at the moment. I couldn't even get a server started properly on the Aux One branch. So I'll talk about what's going on Aux One, and maybe next week we'll be able to show you guys better. But unfortunately, just given the state of where development is at and where the Aux One branch is at pre-stream, we were not able to get a server up to actually show you guys the stuff on there. But there's some interesting stuff going on, not just on Aux One. First and foremost, there is a new branch that appeared this week, and it's called Rail Network Link. And I think this is an interesting one because what it sounds like to me, and granted, this is not confirmed, and keep in mind, we're not developers, we're just fans of the game like you who report on development news and run the best servers that we can. But my sense of this rail network link is that it's actually going to be some sort of link between the above ground rail network and the below ground rail network. And I think that would be really cool if there's one or two maybe places on the map where you can have a train above ground and then bring it below ground and vice versa. Once again, I'm not sure if that is the case, if that's actually what they're creating. But man, as I started looking at the commits and I started thinking about it, I was like, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Because we got the below ground and we got the above ground. They're both rail networks. Why not link them? Well, it looks like that's exactly what the devs are doing. So we got that rail network link branch. It just started, so I don't think we're going to see this come in for the August update. We are mid-month, and so we got 2 weeks until the August update and forced wipe. That's going to be regular scheduled time, 2 p.m. Eastern. What is that? 7 p.m. BST. on August 3rd is when you can expect the force wipe. And on Rustafied servers, we'll wipe blueprints, but that's when they'll release this big update that's coming. I don't think the rail network link is going to be in there, but it looks like potentially we might actually see these weapon racks come in. And these have been a work in progress for a while, like the better part of a year, in fact. And they started end of last year at just during one of these Hack Week projects. And those Hack Week projects are, they basically just let the devs start working on whatever they want to work on. And it's a project that may make it in, may not make it in. A lot of the Hack Week projects don't make it in, but we are seeing some of these Hack Week projects finally make it in. The chat emojis is one thing that we're confident is going to come in 2 weeks with the August 3rd update. But now it looks like also on Aux 1, they have merged in the weapon racks. And I do so wish I could show them off. But once again, Aux 1 wasn't running smoothly. So we do have a short video on Twitter and on YouTube and TikTok and the other things that we put out yesterday to kind of show how it functions. But it's really cool, actually. I'm like, actually, I was not expecting it to be this cool, and I don't know why. Maybe I was like playing it down in my head or whatever. But these weapon racks are really cool. There's 4 types of weapon racks. 3 of them mount on the wall, and then one is just kind of one that you deploy on the ground. But specifically, the wall-mounted ones are really cool because you can go up with a weapon attached, with a weapon equipped, I should say, and then it shows, like, how when you build, it shows the blue highlights of where the foundation or where the wall is going to go. Well, it does the same thing with the weapons that you're holding, and there's like slots on the rack that you can choose from, and as you look around, uh, the different slots are highlighted with a blue version of the weapon that you're looking at the thing with. And then all you got to do is click E, and it goes from your inventory to the weapon rack, and vice versa. If you want to grab a weapon out of the rack, it's the same thing. You look at it, you can see the durability of the weapon, like the status of the weapon, the ammo of the weapon, and then you can just hit E and it goes right into your hotbar. It's like a really cool feature, and it also looks awesome on the. And once again, I wish I could show it off on the stream. You can check out rustified.com also for some images. I just did a couple, and then Aux 1 was crashing on me like crazy, so I didn't get as much as I wanted. But basically, that's the functionality. You can walk up, drop a weapon, easily pick up a weapon, and what's even like cooler than that is just it's a display of your weapons. You can put any type of weapon on there from what we've seen. You can even put like grenades up there. You can put spears up there. You can put bows up there. And then on top of it, at night especially, and I didn't get a picture of this yet, uh, the weapon racks have some cool lighting above them as well. And so at night, when you got your weapons all racked up on the wall mounted there with the lights coming down, it's like a really cool look. It's a really cool look and feel. So really happy to see these weapon racks come in because we've seen these be worked on for like so long, and we've heard a lot about them in the commits and everything, but now we're actually seeing them come to fruition, and it's cool to see. Now, it's not exactly clear how the weapon racks are going to make their way into the game. I have heard uh, a couple times that potentially they're going to be part of a DLC, which I can totally see. And that, once again, all these DLCs like support the devs to continue developing the game. So, as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's not like a pay to win thing, which this completely is not, then like DLC it up, guys. Like keep making money so you can keep developing this game, because it's so awesome to see how this game progresses over the years. I'm not sure if the weapon racks, maybe one of them, maybe the floor mounted one will be just a default in the game. uh, Maybe they'll all be default. I don't know. Maybe the whole DLC talk around the weapon racks is just fugazi, and that's not what it's going to be. So it's all to say we don't know exactly how they're going to be implemented in the game, but they are on Aux 1, which is a good sign that they're not too far off. Now, they might not make it for August. We are 2 weeks away from the August update. And I'd say if they were on normal staging at the moment, that's like a really good sign. but they're on aux 1, and so it might stay on aux 1 for another month, and we might, have to wait until September or something to see them come in. But nevertheless, it's really cool to see them in their awesome display on the base, visually representing all the weapons you put. You can control how they're aligned. It shows the skins of the weapon too. It's got cool lighting above it. It's just like, it's a really cool vibe. It's a really cool addition to the game that I'm excited to see come in. So that's weapon racks. Now also, we've got more work this week on parachutes. And this is something that we saw a parachute branch like first emerge in like 2017, I want to say. And then we didn't see anything for like years. And then just end of last year, I want to say, we saw a couple more things with parachute for like a week or two. And then once again, it like went back into concept limbo. But now, as of last week and this week, we're seeing a lot of work on the parachutes branch. So it looks like parachutes are definitely making their way in. We don't know a ton about them, but some interesting things that we've picked up based on the commits are, one, they will be reusable, and they'll be like, once you land, like kind of a repacking process to repack the parachute into its like backpack. It looks like it's going to come in, and the parachute will have durability. So you'll only be able to do a certain number of jumps, but you will be able to use them multiple times, which is cool. Also, I mentioned the backpack thing. It looks like when you have a parachute equipped, it will visually be represented as a backpack on your player's back. So you'll be able to see who's rocking a parachute, who's not, who's ready to jump out of the, scrap copter or whatever. And that's going to be cool too. And then on top of that, the other thing that we know is that when you're jumping out of a high place, you need to be high enough up to have the parachute deploy. I think it was like 40 meters or something like that. It might, all this is subject to change, it's in progress. But when you're actually falling, you deploy the parachute. You can either steer around with the parachute and like control where you land, or you can bust out a weapon and start firing the weapon, like good old Rambo style, coming down from a parachute. I don't know if Rambo ever came down from a parachute firing, but it seems like something he would do. But anyway, you can fire while you're descending in the parachute as well, but you can't steer while you're shooting. So you can either steer or you can shoot, but it doesn't look like you can do both. No word on when these are going to make their way into the game. It's still on this separate branch, on the parachutes branch. So definitely once it gets merged into like aux 1 or normal staging, we're going to test the heck out of it and figure out everything you need to know about the parachutes. But it does look like parachutes are definitely coming in. They are out of concept limbo, and unless for some reason they enter concept limbo again, I think we will see them maybe by fall, like maybe September, if I had to guess, maybe even sooner. Who knows? Now, also, the other interesting thing going on aux 1 branch is the Nexus body of work. We're actually, for the first time, seeing the Nexus server to server transfer stuff on a server, and we're seeing what that looks like. Unfortunately, once again, sorry, we can't be on aux 1 at the moment because we weren't able to get a server up. It was just like in this death loop of starting. But what we're seeing on the Nexus stuff on the aux 1 branch, when I was able to get in there yesterday, it's interesting. It is, so I thought originally it was just going to be server to server transfer, and I was playing with the idea of like we take medium 1 and medium 2 and we link them up. Maybe we take long 1, long 3, and long 2, I guess, as well, and we link those up, but it actually looks like the Nexus servers are going to be their own special type of server. On the server list on aux 1, there's this new thing. You have the official tab, and then you have community and modded. Well, under official is Nexuses or something like that, and you can see the Nexus specific servers. And within that, you can see it's like a interesting listing where you can see one server, and then you can see like kind of the sub servers of it. So it looks like the Nexus servers actually might be like their own kind of standalone thing. It doesn't look like necessarily we'll be able to take an existing server or 3 existing servers and link them together. Instead, it actually looks like Nexus is going to be like its own kind of type of server. So I don't know exactly how this is going to be rolled out. Of course, as a server owner, I have a ton of questions, right? But we just have to practice patience and see what that's going to look like. Nevertheless, though, to see that on Aux 1 is a very good sign that we're going to see this Nexus stuff coming in the very near future. Now, when it launches first, I think based on what the devs have said, it is only going to be Facepunch official servers running the Nexus kind of stuff. And that might be the case for a couple weeks or even a month or so. And then after that, I imagine they'll open it up for the community to run these Cloud Link servers. But man, as I think about it, I have so many questions, and I'm sure other people have a ton of questions too. And unfortunately, a lot of it is just unknown at this point. But it is interesting to see that Nexus stuff on Aux 1. And then it's also interesting to see how that's worked into the server list as it's its own category of server. So it's not going to be like other servers. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I don't know if this Aux 1 stuff is going to get merged into normal staging and the weapon racks and Nexus is actually going to launch with the August 3rd update in 2 weeks. I think it's possible, but also the state of Aux 1 right now is very uh, bad in the sense of if you want to run a game that doesn't crash, well, you're going to have a bad time because when just trying to get some screenshots and just trying to load in, we were crashing all over the place. And then today we can't even start a server. So and that's just normal stuff with development, right? Like that's no shade on Facepunch or anything. That's just where it's at in the development cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how this progresses over the next week. And what will be really interesting and what I'm looking for on the commits is if we see this merge from like Aux 1 to normal staging. And that will tell us, okay, this stuff is going to come in August 3rd. Once again, not sure if that will be the case. I give it kind of a 50-50, maybe even 40-60, like leaning towards not coming in August 3rd. But we could see, and we'll keep an eye on it as we always do. Now, also, as you see, the one thing we can show off here is we're scrolling around this new brick facade. This is the next building skin, definitely coming in as a DLC for the August 3rd update. And so this is something that will hit the item store in 2 weeks as the other DLCs, the other building skin DLCs have. It is a stone building skin. So it's similar to the Adobe and like the other building skins, it doesn't give anything special as far as damage stats. It doesn't give anything different as far as collision or things like that. It is literally just a visual aesthetic change. Now, what's interesting is we just loaded this up. I built this building the other day to take some pictures for the article. And what you might notice is if you look at the roofs, there's a significant change to the roofs that has just taken place in the last day or two. And that is like originally with these with the angled roof going up with the wall there was kind of this step gable thing. And if you look at rustafied.com and my pictures there, you can see it went up as kind of like sort of steps, so to speak, not just a smooth angle. And what I'm seeing now is it looks like they've replaced that and it's just they're unifying the roofs to just have kind of the stone siding and then the normal, slats and some brick worked into it. So all to say, it's still in progress, and we might see some more visual changes and everything. Nevertheless, I love this brick skin. I think this brick skin is so cool. I love over the windows, the slight like uh, the the thing underneath. Oh man, I'm losing my words. The
The
stuff about the
windowsill and
brick.
the archway, yeah.
Yeah, the windowsill and the curvature on the top. The nice things that look nice about the brick. That's what I like about it. So and on the inside, it's also pretty cool because it's like a different shade of brick, and then it's got some woodwork and stuff like that as well. So really cool vibe, really cool building skin. Expected as a DLC like the other building skins come the August 3rd update. And we haven't seen like a ton of commits around this week, but they are tweaking it, they are modifying it, and overall, and the floor with the stonework and everything. I just, yeah, I really dig it. I really like it. Now, the other thing going on is we got base optimization still in progress. This is on the good old global network basis branch. And the long and short with that, it's a very programmatic thing. But if I could put it simply, what it looks like they're doing for the global network bases branch is actually converting how the bases are rendered in a way that uh, makes it more performant for your computer. So it looks like you're going to be able to see bases from farther out. So if you're flying like hauling ass on a mini copter and you come across a Zerg base, ideally you'll be able to see it from farther out instead of it just like spawning on top of you. And then on top of that, ideally, what this does is limits or lowers the amount of hitches and frame drops that you have when actually rendering in a base, because it looks like the bases are going to be turned kind of into a prefab on the map, similar to how the like you know geographical rocks are or how the trees are rendered. So it looks like it's going to be more kind of a baked in thing. It's a complex thing, so I'm not sure if we're going to see this go live for August. But man, let them take as long as they like on this, because if it really does what it looks like it might do, which is like reduce the biggest cause of hitches in the game as you're loading in bases and allow you to see bases from farther out, man, that's going to be a really great addition. That's like a really great optimization for the game. So I'm excited to see that come in. Once again, not sure if that will come in. I think it's being tested on aux 2, which is not available. Also, if you're not aware, because I'm over here saying staging aux 1, aux 2, like you know what I'm talking about. But just so you know, like there's the main branch of the game, and that's what gets launched to the updates every first Thursday, and that all comes from the main staging branch. But then they have two other kind of like sub staging branches for more bleeding edge testing, and there's aux 1 and aux 2. Sometimes aux 2 is available to the public to test, and then other times it's made private, and most of the time these days it's private. And then it looks like they're just moving stuff to aux 1 for the public testing stuff. But if something's on aux 2, it's like in progress. It's being tested by the devs internally, and it's getting ready. It's at least in a testing state. So it's not in just concept or development. They're testing it. And then when it moves to aux 1 or normal staging, that's when we say, okay, it's available for public testing. And it's much more likely that we'll see it come in the next update, either the next forced wipe or the following one after that. So as it stands, base optimization stuff is on aux 2, which makes me think probably not coming in August, but maybe September, maybe October. But whenever it does, it's going to be really great to be able to walk around or fly around the map and see the bases from farther out. Also, one thing about the render distance, it looks like they're doing some sort of like kind of similar to an LOD system where you'll see the base from far out, but it'll be a low poly version, like a low fidelity version. And then as you get closer to it, it'll like bring in more fidelity. And then once you're up to the base, it'll look like, a base normally does. But all of that should really positively impact performance, reduce hitches, reduce frame drops. And that's really cool to see, because that's one of the biggest sources of frame drops in the game. So awesome. Now, also in other news, we've got work in progress on they're updating Bradley a little bit. It looks like just visual updates and maybe some tweaks to behavior, but so far it looks like kind of just like a new iteration of what Bradley's going to look like. And I imagine that's related to the end of wipe events where Bradleys are roaming the server and everything like that. And I don't know if this will spawn two types of Bradleys now. Maybe we'll keep the OG Bradley at launch, and then maybe these other Bradleys will be around the map, or if this new Bradley iteration is just going to take over all Bradleys. But it's all to say they are working on an updated version of Bradley. They're also working on various art fixes as well. This is on, I think it's like July art fixes branch or something like that. And what they're doing, we saw this first last week, and they were working a lot on a couple different monuments and things like that. and just like little placement things, little quality of life placement things on where certain little boxes and tables and stuff are around monuments. But it looks like it's extended beyond that this week, and they're working on things like power lines and other things around the map to improve the art of these miscellaneous things around the map. Now, of course, the biggie would be like de-jankifying those power lines, right? Because have those things they got they got a face only a mother can love, right? Because I mean, man, they just look not good. It looks like maybe they're going to be fixing those power lines as well. So that would be cool. There's also, interestingly enough, out of concept limbo, it had been there for like 2 months. The attack helicopter branch is coming back. We see a little more progress on that attack helicopter, and it looks like they're working on it again. So I don't know if that's going to be in conjunction with parachutes or something like that, but nevertheless, they are working on the attack helicopter again. No word on when we're going to see it. And then finally, last thing is they're cleaning up some stuff with the chat emojis, and the chat emojis are coming in August. They're really cool. They're custom for Rust. They're animated, and also other server owners can add their own custom emojis, which I'm sure won't be a problem at all. And then on top of that, you can also add in chat. You can access the icon, like kind of an emoji of each, say like low grade fuel or metal frags or whatever. You can access those in chat as well, and utilize the icons in chat for those various items and stuff. So all cool. It's looking like the chat emojis are definitely coming in for the August 3rd update. And we're seeing just, a couple tweaks with those and a couple, additions and cleanup with regards to those chat emojis. And yeah, that about does it for what's going on in Rust development this week. Misty, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we have some, not a lot. When is WIP?
So given it's mid-month and it's not first Thursday, Rustafied servers wipe at 3 p.m. local time for the region. And what that looks like is uh, probably you're wondering US wipes. That's in an hour and a half, basically at 3 p.m. EST. And that's going to be your mains, your mediums, trio, small, baron, and Zen Labs. So it's the weekly and bi-weekly Thursday wipe servers wiping. With regards to the other wipes, they've all already happened for Rustafied servers today. Like 3.5 hours ago, we had EU wipe, and then like 13 and a half hours ago, we had AU and SEA wipe. So that's what's going on. It's map wipes only as we are mid-month, and that's what you can expect for server wipes for Rustified today.
Where do we submit questions for the stream?
Why do we do that?
No, where? Where?
Oh, where? Okay, yeah. So in chat, just do at Misty underscore that's me. And she's one of my lovely co-MCs. Her and Artemis are my co-MCs, but Misty watches the chat, and then that tagging her in it helps her like catch it and then ask the question. So yeah, if you have any questions, just do at Misty underscore that's me in chat, and then followed by your question, and we're happy to get to as many as we can.
Yes. Thank you, Bugs. Do you work for Face Punch?
No, actually, a lot of people like assume that we're developers or we at least work for FacePunch as like a PR thing or something. That in fact is not the case at all. We're not on the FacePunch payroll. We've never worked for FacePunch. We are just an independent organization, and we love reporting on development news. I've now been doing this for about 10 years and writing an article each week. Back in the early years, I did like 4, 5, 6 articles a week because development was moving at such a pace at the early stages of experimental. But I've been doing that for about 10 years now, and we just run the best servers that we can. And that said, we're not developers, we're not part of FacePunch. We are purely an independent organization who just loves reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And in fact, the only way that we can keep doing that And I want to take this time to personally thank each and every one of you for your support, because without the support of the community, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We wouldn't be able to run the servers, and we wouldn't be able to show up every week and report on development news. So to everyone who shows up and watches and supports us that way, to people who give bits or subscribe on Twitch, thank you. And to especially our beautiful, wonderful, loyal VIP customers, that's the biggie. That's what supports us the most, and that's what keeps the servers going. And so, just really from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for the support, because we wouldn't be able to do this without you. So, yeah.
There we go. Do you think they will ever change the recoil?
They have a bunch of times, right? They did the big change last year with the whole new recoil system. And then the other month, we saw some tweaks to like Thompson and stuff like that. And I mean, if we go back years, they had different things with aim cone. They had, what was it called? Like hit scan or bullet drop or whatever that was, the projectile stuff. They've done so many things over the years with recoil and gunplay that I absolutely would not be surprised if they change things in the future. Now, that being said, I'm not aware of any specific projects to change recoil. And I'm pretty sure with that big change that they did last year that fundamentally just shifted how recoil of all guns worked, I'm pretty sure they're sticking with that and they're happy with that, because it's like a lower learning curve for people coming in. And I think that's kind of the route they were looking to go. And I believe they're probably going to not stray too far from that. We might see some tweaks here and there. We might see some individual weapons get modified. But as far as overall recoil is concerned, I think it's pretty static at this point.
Will the moving servers be restricted to servers with the same wipe schedule?
Yeah. The Nexus stuff, that server to server transfer stuff, is going to have two things. One, the wipe schedule will have to be the same. And that makes sense, right? Because you can't have something that wiped a week ago, people got all their gear, all their kits, and then they go to a fresh wipe server on like some ferry or something and just pwn all the noobs. That's not going to work. So yeah, they share a map wipe schedule, and they also cloud share blueprints apparently. So if you learn a blueprint on one Nexus server, you'll know it on any other Nexus server you go to. Um, but that being said, it doesn't look like the Nexus server to server transfer stuff is just going to work for every server. So if you're a server owner and you run 3 servers, I don't think, based on what we're seeing on Aux 1 now, I don't think you'll be able to just link those 3 servers up. That's what I originally thought. And that's kind of what in my head I've been planning on doing with our server lineup. But when I see it on Aux 1, which once again, unfortunately, we can't show because it was crashing and we couldn't get a server started. But on the Aux 1 branch, if you look at it, there's this new tab underneath official called just Nexuses, something like that. And when you look at those servers, what you see is it's like one server, and then you see the different nodes of the server. So it basically looks like a completely new type of server. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to roll out, but I do believe Facepunch will run their own servers officially for the initial version of it, and then they'll open up other communities with the ability to run their own Nexus servers. But I don't think it's going to be something that you can you can take an existing server and turn it into a Nexus server. I think it's going to be its based on what we're seeing, its own standalone kind of type of server.
Someone here is saying, please bring back a dedicated normal service, buildable for a newer player environment. I understand it's a rotation on Labs, but I feel it should be brought back and its own server.
And I'm sorry, my headset cut out in the beginning of that. What was the beginning of that question? I know it's about Zen Labs and probably Happus or Savus or something.
Yeah, it says, please bring back a dedicated normal service, buildable for a newer player environment, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And we did run the Sabbath servers for years until Facebook stopped supporting the Sabbath servers and the Sabbath map specifically. And so we switched it up. We turned it to Zen Labs because and that's just a brand we came up because that's something that's plastered on various shipping containers around. It's part of kind of the Rust lore. But I like Zen Labs the name as well because um well Zen is nice, but then labs indicates like we're kind of testing things. We're kind of playing around with things. And given that Sabbath is no longer officially a supported map, it from my perspective, doesn't warrant running its own dedicated server. It was never that popular when it was around to begin with. I think it would be better set to work into the rotation of the ZenLab servers because that's what we're doing. We're basically taking different community built custom maps. We got Happus, we got Cinco du I never know how to say that name. It's like I always want to say Sync Douche, but I know that's not it, and it sounds bad. But we've got that map, which is an awesome created map, and Savas as well. I'm not even sure the status of the Savas map. I'm not sure if anyone's taking care of it. Like literally, I don't even know if I wanted to put up a Savas server if the Savas map as it stands it would be supported because Facepunch dropped their support of it, so it relies then on the community to update. And I don't think anyone in the community has been updating it necessarily. They might be, and I might be mistaken, but it's all to say I don't have any plans to start a Savas only specific server. That was something that we did when it was an officially supported map by Facepunch, but when they pulled their official support of it, it was no longer viable to run a server consistently just based on Savas. I do understand where you're coming from. It's a cool um, it's a cool experience, the whole Savas thing, especially when you can build all around. But if anything, I'd say we'll look to work that into our Zen Labs map rotation, but no plans to open a Savas only.
And about old servers, someone was asking, will you ever start an old Recoil server like Atlas and Vital doing?
No, I'm not really interested in that. I mean, the fact of the matter is our main focus is on official vanilla servers. That's like kind of our bread and butter. Now we did open the 2x server on the modded list and we're playing with that, but that hasn't like super popped either. It's like it's doing okay. And we did work hard on it to get the right balance and the right loot stuff, but our main focus is on we run about 40 official vanilla servers, and that's where we really want to maintain our focus and maintain the best quality that we can on those servers. So no immediate plans for like an old Recoil server or any other things like that. Anything's possible in the future, but yeah, I don't think specifically old Recoil. It's kind of like a dead thing. I know some people specifically really like it a lot more than new Recoil, and so there is like a place for it. But as time goes on, I think there's going to be less and less of a demand for it. So it's not of interest to me to spend the resources and time and everything to run an old Recoil server.
And about that, what does it say? Corrido, well-known Savas player, updated the buildable map that has been upgraded to the new HDR update. I have a copy if you'll be interested.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I am interested, and I'd be happy to run it as a map on Zen Labs, like in the map rotation, because we're switching between Happus and this other one at the moment. I'm happy to add Savas back in. So definitely like reach out on Discord or go to rustafied.com/support and put in a ticket with attention bugs to it and feel free to link to it. I'm happy to check it out. I wasn't sure the status. I realized as I was saying it, I'm like, I'm not even sure what the status of the Savas map is. So if there is a playable, buildable version that works well, I'm totally open to running it on Zen Labs for a wipe or two.
Is the new skin for purchase? I always want to see purchase, purchase, or can I skin it if I have the recent Adobe DLC?
At the moment, Brick skin is not available for purchase. It will be most likely on August 3rd when the update comes out, probably like an hour before the update. So maybe 1 p.m. Eastern on August 3rd. You'll probably see it on the item store available for purchase. At the moment, we're on normal staging, and I haven't checked this week actually. Are you guys able to upgrade to brick yet? Or is it still just the people who have like that one random book in their inventory?
Um,
Yeah,
Honestly, I
it's
haven't
still
tried
like
today, so
yeah. I
yeah.
tried, but I couldn't see the option. No, not the minute.
Yeah, so I think as it stands, it will be available for purchase August 3rd as a DLC. In the meantime, on staging, I think the only way to upgrade to the brick is if you, and this is such a weird random thing, right? But there's like this incident book that Gary uh, gave away when he was like testing something with like Steam inventory and everything years ago, like maybe 2016, I want to say. And if you join staging over like a day or two period, and that was it. But if you joined staging during that time in 2016, you got this book. And if you have that book in your inventory for whatever reason, that's the key to upgrade to brick at the moment. At least that's last we tested. Of course, that's not going to stay the case. It's going to be a DLC. You buy the DLC, you can upgrade to brick. But as it stands for testing now, that looks like for whatever reason, that's the only people who can upgrade. Thankfully, I've been doing this shit for a long time, and I got that book in my inventory, so I can upgrade to brick, which I'm happy about. But yeah, not I don't think many people can.
Do you think they will make submarines weaker in the near future?
I don't know. I mean, I could see some balance coming into subs as we've got the tugboats coming in with the Nexus stuff as well. It looks like because that's the other thing, they're doing a lot of shifting over of the ferry terminal, that new monument that came out this month. That's just kind of like a point of interest with some like what is it? It's like a little bit of loot, and then you got the services, you got the workbench, you got the car lift, stuff like that. But it's not really like doing its full intended job as a ferry terminal. The ferry terminal coming in, uh, it looks like ferries will be part of the Nexus and getting to another server or another Nexus like node. And within all that stuff happening in the water, I could totally see the submarines get some balance applied to them. I haven't seen anything that I can recall specifically around submarine balance as it stands now. But given all the stuff, we just had the Abyss update. We got a lot of stuff going on in the water. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some form of balance, at some point with the subs.
Have you guys heard anything about the NPCs that don't have any missions yet getting theirs added in, like the miner and vagabond NPC?
Yeah, there was some work the other month that I think Helk was doing on like a missions program. It was like a missions kind of system that I think was going to be allowing the developers to more agilely and quickly produce missions for people. Now, I haven't seen anything on that, but there are, of course, hidden commits that go under the radar. So potentially it's been worked on, but I do think there is another iteration of missions definitely planned. And in that, we're going to see some more, I believe, complex missions, and we'll see some more NPCs available around the map to provide those missions. I don't know when that will happen in time, as I want to say it was like April, maybe we saw a little work on it, but I don't recall seeing anything like really since. So it might be in concept limbo. It might take several months or more, might be next year until we see some changes to missions. But I do think it's definitely, on the docket for the devs.
Let me see here. I think this was a double one. Uh, 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 uh. Will they add the disable and this? Oh my god. Will they add the disable slash enable skins again? If so, will they add separate ticks for building skins and skins on items?
Yeah, no, they got rid of that. And their logic for getting rid of that was interesting. I think it's a pretty. I get the sense, certain decisions they put something in, and it's like, oh, we'll try that out, and maybe we'll change it, and then other things, I think they think a lot about before they implement, and then they make the call to do it, and they do it, and that's the change. And my sense with the ability to toggle uh, skins and everything like that, I think that was a pretty like defined, agreed upon change. I don't see them reverting that. It would be interesting if there was a building skin option for that, and I could even like I could see that. I don't personally uh, necessarily think it's a bad thing to be able to disable the skins. That's to me that's less pay to win because you're just working with the default skins, and any possible benefits of a paid skin can be negated. But by making this change, they did up the value of the skin market and all that stuff. And their logic for it was to level the playing field and make it fair for everyone else. Kind of that was like kind of the language. Now, whether you agree with that or not, it's really a subjective thing up for debate. But it's all to say that my sense of when they made that decision, it was pretty like a set and solid decision. I don't see them reverting that.
Do you think Facepunch will take Waldo on? It's an AI anti-cheat that would stop cheating completely.
Dude, I fucking hope so. I so hope. And if it's not Waldo, maybe Carmen San Diego. I don't know what. Um, but please, for the love of God, give up EAC or keep. I mean, fuck it, keep EAC. It eventually gets them 3 days later after they've already ruined the entire server. Maybe keep EAC. Please add something else. AI, sure, why not? It's taken over the entire world. I would love to see some new form of anti-cheat, and we're working internally and have been working internally, and we're also now once again working with a third-party anti-cheat thing because the cheating problem is such a chronic issue with the game.
Pain in the ass.
It's such a pain in the as a server owner, it's like one of the banes of my existence. I want to run the best servers I can, and these cheaters keep coming in, and the system's in place. The fact of the matter is, like, they just don't work. They don't work quick enough. They don't work in time. They're not effective enough. And I know it's a huge problem in all online gaming. Cheating is a huge problem, but in this game in particular, man, is it so crazy that you can spend days and days of your time and then have it ruined in minutes by a cheater coming through. And how is it not better detected yet? Like, we are doing so much stuff on our end and developing our own internal systems, working with third party systems. I've looked into the AI thing. If I can turn AI thing on just my servers, I will like totally consider doing that because it's such a problem. We upped our staff, our actual like just human being staff of moderators to be able to But the idea that we got to go in and manually spectate someone to try to see if they're cheating, it's really a bummer. It's really a bummer. So it's all to say that yeah, the cheating problem is a huge one. I do hope Facepunch is considering some other options. EAC is not cutting it, and they got bought up by Fortnite, and then they got bought up by Epic, let's say, and now it seems to me like they're just focusing on Fortnite, which I get it. That's a huge cash cow. Go milk that puppy, sure, but like you still have other clients, and Rust is one of the most popular games, PC games played on Steam consistently, and they're not EAC is not giving enough love to Rust. They're not staying up on it, and I think an AI solution could be awesome, and I would love if Facepunch considers something like that. That said, I haven't heard any things about consideration of them doing it, but I personally, for Rustafied servers, am considering other options. We're working with a third party. We've got an internal system. I've been paying developers money to develop, and thankfully it is doing good stuff. Like we have, I wouldn't say we have the hacker situation under control, but Rustafied, I can say with confidence, is better and more adept at catching hackers than most other servers because of the individual external things that we've done. But as a server owner, I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to be investing money in an anti-cheat in my own third party anti-cheat thing. It's kind of crazy. Facepunch needs to get on EAC, or they need to find another option, because if you look at what happened last year, it was 2 million unique players went through official servers, and they banned over 800,000 individual accounts for hacking over the year. And now, granted, a lot of hackers use multiple accounts through the year, so it's not like a 1 to 2, but still, it just speaks to how big of a problem it is. And I haven't seen any significant shift this year in that, and I would love that, because it's one of the biggest things plaguing the game. And we do everything we can to get rid of them as quickly as we can. And thank you to everyone who gives us, reports and all that stuff. And thank you for your patience and understanding with like seeing what we're up against. But yeah, I really hope some new solutions come in. And man, if AI is great for like, I need to like a friend had a baby shower and I need to write some bullshit card. I had Chat GPT do it, and it did a great job. I'm like, wow, that's very touching. That's great. But fuck, as far as I'm concerned, fuck all that. If you can just turn it into something that catches hackers, man, I'll write my own goddamn cards. But please catch the hackers. So yeah, it's all to say. I have a lot to say about the hacker situation. I would love to see AI come in, but I haven't heard anything specifically about you know like, where's Waldo? I don't know. I hope I see him soon.
Find Waldo. Why don't servers band together so if one person gets banned on one, they get banned on all?
There are some like kind of janky ad hoc Discord and other systems for that. There is inter-server communication here and there. Um, it's not as good as as I would like it to be. Years ago, like probably 8 years ago, I started a server owner. It was a Slack back in the day, but we transitioned over to Discord, and we do have a server owner Discord with the developers in there. And there are some means uh, of saying, hey, this we just banned this guy for hacking. Heads up, he's heading your way. But it's not nearly as effective and as set up as I would like it to be. So that's another kind of project on the back burner for me, is creating some better lines of communication between server owners, because it is also crazy that like we spend the time, we spec someone, sometimes it takes an hour to like catch someone actually ESPing, and we record, we upload to YouTube, we get all the information, we get the proof, and we ban them, and then they go to like Rustinity 2x or whatever the heck else, and get away with it over there for like just as much time or more. So there's definitely improvements to be made in the communication, and that, especially that inter-server communication. One of the problems though is a lot of these server owners, and I get it, like it's competition. You want players in your server, so it's not necessarily like advantageous, especially for smaller server owners trying to find their place and trying to like really help out other server owners, because they want the players in their server. So that's another thing in the background and that was part of why I created the server owner Discord, is like to work together and encourage an environment where server owners can work together, because we're all after the same goal here. And I do believe there's enough players to go around, but also that's easy for me to say. I run 40 official servers on the official list, and I have for 10 years. Like, I'm not a new server owner. Like, it's very hard to start a server owner and build momentum. And so I totally understand, where they're coming from as well.
Yeah, let me see
Yeah.
there. Is there any update? Oh, by the way, before that, Dalcar1 subscribed with Prime. Thank you for
Oh,
that.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for the sub. And I think I probably want to do a recap here before we wind down.
After the next question, yes.
Of course.
Any update on the animals/NPCs being turned off? I noticed that Rustafied tries to keep them on more than other servers. Any official word from Facepunch on what you're supposed to be doing?
The official word from Facepunch is if you get an AI related crash, then disable AI for several hours, and it hopefully fixes itself. Many times that is the case. Sometimes, depending on the map seed and the nav mesh, it isn't the case. But I'll tell you, there's two critical issues causing server crashes right now that have been unaddressed for years. And it's the AI issue, which is the AI interacts negatively with the nav mesh. The nav mesh is like this invisible layer uh, of the terrain, like underneath the terrain, to tell animals and other NPCs where they can walk and where they can't walk. And what happens is sometimes specifically these junk pile scientists, the blue guys, will spawn underneath or something the nav mesh. And when they're doing that, they're trying to walk, but they can't because they're not on the nav mesh. And it causes errors and then it causes a crash. And then the solution from Facepunch, as they've put it, is disable the movement of AI. You don't need to disable the thinking of AI, but you need to disable the movement because it's when they're caught in that situation and they try to move, that's what blows the errors and causes the server crash. The other thing we got going on is a PhysX crash. And this is something weird in the Unity about around the physics of everything. And I don't know exactly what causes it, but sometimes just something happens, some physics thing, probably with building or something happens in the server and it causes this whole server to crash as well. And then we just need to restart and there's a slight rollback because of autosaves every 10 minutes. The unfortunate thing about both of those issues is they're not Facepunch or Rust issues necessarily. They are fundamental issues with Unity, which is the underlying engine that runs the game. And they're fundamental issues with how Facepunch and how Rust are, and this is my sense of it. I'm not a game developer, right? But I do have a lot of experience in this stuff. So my understanding is there are fundamental issues baked into Unity. It's not a fix that Facepunch can provide. It's something that we need actually Unity to update. The funny thing is, we've got this game, right? It's in development. We see a new update every month. This game runs on Unity. Unity is still in development as a game engine, and they launch updates all the time as well. But the game has to stay at the current Unity version that it's at until they decide to upgrade. Because when they upgrade, it's a whole ball of wax. It can break like 16 other things that were working because Unity changed how the things work. So it's like this whole huge process to upgrade the Unity version. We've seen it a number of times over the years. We haven't seen it in a while, actually. And ideally, over time, Unity fixes the PhysX thing and the AI nav mesh thing. And then Facepunch goes through the hassle of upgrading Unity, and then we can see a fix. In the meantime, though, the fact of the matter is the game crashes. We run 40 servers, and not a day goes by that we don't have at least one, but normally about 3 server crashes. And I know people come on Discord immediately and say, fix your fucking servers. What kind of shit server, what hamster wheel do you have this server running on? Whose basement is this server running on? And it's like, sorry guys, no, actually, we run on the best hardware, the best network, the best things money can buy. And I can say that with confidence because I've spent years finding the best host and the best provider. Now we are having some issues with our host, and we are shifting our US infrastructure to a new host because it's hard to find a good host as well. But it's all to say when a server crashes, that is completely outside of our control. It literally is just something that is baked into the game, and Facepunch themselves can't fix it because it's an issue with the underlying game engine. Hopefully, it will be fixed someday, but in the meantime, you just got to set AI move 0, and then the animals and the NPCs just stop moving. They're much easier to hit, at least, so that's cool.
Recap?
Yeah, let's do a little recap here. And man, I got on. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling like so shitty. I'm only going to do a half-hour stream. Now we're an hour in. I'm doing a recap, but I do want to. I
And
just want to thank everyone for tuning in and like actually doing this. I was feeling awful coming into this, but talking to you all and just like sharing what's going on and vibing with you all like really does help me. So I just want to say much love and gratitude to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you. And oh, as someone, you really need to fix your server. It's unplayable. Yeah, okay. That's why I don't look at Discord.
Speaking of.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all good. So a little recapity cap here. What we got going on is we are mid-month. It's 2 weeks until the forced wipe and update. That's going to come August 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. BST. What we are looking at though in the meantime is it looks like early next week is going to be a mandatory update. It's not going to force a wipe or anything like that, but it is going to be a requirement that servers and clients update to fix some critical issue that I don't even know about, but there's a good reason that they're doing it because they don't often do mandatory updates mid-month, but there's a good reason, I'm sure. Also, we got a new branch going on this week called Rail Network Link. I don't know what this is, but my intuition is saying this is something that's going to link the above ground rail network with the below ground rail network. And that's pretty cool. I think that's going to be awesome if that is the case. Once again, not confirmed, but it would be really cool to have kind of like this like I guess it would just be like a pathway down, like a ramp or something that you could go up or down with the trains and with the rails. I don't know. We'll see. But that's Rail Network Link. Also, over on Aux One, which unfortunately we were gonna try to stream from Aux One today, but when we were getting the stream up and running, the Aux One server was just caught in this death loop of starting. It wouldn't even boot up. Yesterday, I managed to get a couple shots of the weapon racks on Aux One. If you look at rustafied.com or our Twitter, we did a quick video about it as well. But even then, Aux was like it was crashing out every couple minutes. So it's still very much in testing phases, but nevertheless, weapon racks are actually on Aux One. They're pretty cool. There's 4 of them total. 3 are mounted on the wall. 1 is just a floor deployable weapon rack. What's awesome about them is you go up to it and you can just kind of be holding a weapon and you hit E and the weapon you're holding goes and mounts on the rack. Kind of like how the building plan works, where you see the blue outline before you place like the foundation of the wall. It's the same thing with the weapons, and there's certain slots on each weapon rack for where they can go. So you can choose by just pointing and clicking where the weapon goes, and then it's visually displayed on the rack. The racks also have cool lights, and so at night it looks really awesome. It's just like a really great looking, addition to your bases. It's going to look cool, and it has that great functionality of you could have one right outside your base or right out inside your base, but near the exit, and you can just be running by and just grab and go instead of having to go into a box or whatever. So that's really cool. Word on the street is maybe these are going to be part of a DLC. I don't know if all of them are or just some, but I wouldn't be surprised if these are a DLC. They're on Aux One now, so it's not 100% they're going to be in for the August 3rd update in 2 weeks. In fact, I'd probably only give it 50-50 or maybe 40-60% chance that it will make it in for the August 3rd update, but it is being tested. They do look really awesome. They got lights. It's cool stuff. So that's weapon racks. Also parachutes they're working on, and we're seeing more work on parachutes. We had seen originally in like 2017, and then it went into concept limbo, and then last year we saw some with parachutes, and then it went into concept limbo. But now it looks like they're really working on getting these parachutes out. A couple things we know: they will be reusable with durability, so you'll be able to jump off a thing, jump out of a heli, shoot down, and then in a some form of time period repack up your your parachute and then use it again with durability, of course. And then also, it looks like it's going to be worn like a backpack, so you'll visibly be able to see when someone's rocking a parachute before it's deployed. And you'll be able to fire a weapon while descending in a parachute, or you'll be able to steer where you go in the chute, but you won't be able to do both at the same time. So it's either going to be firing a weapon or it's going to be steering, but not both. And so, still on a separate branch, not sure when that's going to come in, but they're definitely making some great forward progress on the parachutes. Also, we got more work on the brick building skin. This is the upcoming DLC for August 3rd. It is a stone building skin. So, like Adobe, you'll just, with your hammer, be able to upgrade once you bought the DLC. And I really love the look of the brick. We've seen some modifications this week to especially like the gables on the roof Originally, there was like a step gable thing, and now they smoothed it out. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a couple other, visual tweaks to the brick stuff before it goes live. But you can expect to see that brick stuff go live for the August 3rd update in the form of a DLC on the item store, just like the other building skins. Then also we've got base optimizations being worked on. This is on the good old global network bases branch. Long and short there is it's just improving the way that bases are rendered in and stored on the map such that it's more performant for your computer. You can see ideally bases from farther away, even if they're a little low poly or like low fidelity. And then as you get closer, the fidelity will increase, and ideally it reduces the number of hitches and frame drops that you have when coming into render distance of a big base, especially. Also, there's more work on the Nexus stuff. That's the other thing on Aux 1 is we actually see that server-to-server transfer work for the first time on Aux 1 branch. Once again, sorry for not being able to be on there, but what we're seeing is on the server list under the official tab, there's actually a new tab called Nexuses, and it looks like these server-to-server Nexus servers are going to be their own kind of standalone type of server. So originally I was thinking, man, when this Nexus stuff comes out, we'll combine log 1, 2, and 3, right? But it looks like it's going to be its own type of server. So I don't know if that's going to be in the mix. Facepunch apparently is going to launch their own servers for Nexus as a first thing to kind of test it out, and then maybe give access to the community as well. So more work on that. We're seeing it come out. I don't know if we're going to see it for the update in 2 weeks on August 3rd, but it definitely is in progress. We've also got more progress on an update to Bradley. It looks like they're just doing some visual tweaks and improvements. So it looks like Bradley might just have an updated look when the next update comes out or whenever it goes live. They're working on more art fixes. It was a bunch of stuff around monuments last week, and then this week it looks like more just various art things around the map. One thing in particular is it looks like they're working on the power lines, so maybe they'll make the power lines not just like a whole group of fucking pixels, and those will look a lot nicer, hopefully. And that's on the July art fixes branch. Also, the attack helicopter branch came back as well. So excited to see that come in. No word on when the attack helicopter is going to come in, but it is in progress again. We saw a lot of work on it earlier in the year, and then we saw a month or so where we didn't see anything on it. But now it's back, and hopefully we will see it soon. And then finally, just some cleanup on the chat emojis, which is another thing coming in the August update. This is just some custom emojis for chat. They're animated, they look nice. Server owners can add their own custom emojis as well, and you can grab the icon, or I guess it would be just considered an emoji for each item in the game as well by typing in chat. So you can do like high quality metal emoji in chat, or like trade, low grade fuel for whatever the heck in chat. So that's another cool thing coming on, and they're basically just working on cleaning some of that stuff up, and we do expect that once again to come in August. But yeah, that about does it for what's going on in Rust development and the recapity cap.
Okay, let me see here. If a custom map was created, can we apply to have it featured in the Zenlabs rotation?
Yeah, hop on our Discord. We're happy to look at other custom maps. I ideally over time want to build out a really solid rotation for the custom maps on Zenlabs. So I'll say, yeah, I'm totally open to that. Hop on Discord, and there's a Zenlabs conversation you could post in there, or you can also always put in a ticket, rustafied.com/support, and you could do attention bugs and then like share the map there. We're happy to test it out, check it out, and consider it.
Sorry, I was replying to one who asked a question here.
Actually, go. Looking at the nice brickwork here.
When I think we can wind down, actually, I think we're 9 minutes over. So let's just end this little puppy. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Artemis and Misty, for being my co-MCs as always. Thank you,
You're
everyone,
welcome.
for tuning
You're
in.
welcome. Yeah.
Like, independent organization, not on the Face Punch payroll. We get by just by the support of the community. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the support. And I love you guys. We'll be back again next week. And same time, same place. In the meantime, check out rustafied.com for more news throughout the week, or Twitter and socials. You know how that shit works. And yeah, have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off.